Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Education Platform, where we gain knowledge. We can always achieve our goals. We have the skills we need. I like to thank everyone who had the opportunity to join us today. Now, before we begin with our lessons for today, I'm going to be reading you a verse which is taken from Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, when God created the world, from the very beginning. Now, it states that in the beginning, God created heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. It what it means is that when God created the world, it was a total darkness until the Spirit, the Lord's Spirit, moved upon the face of the waters, giving the world light, showing us that we are in the Lord's presence. Now, our first lesson is about U.S. segregation. Now, U.S. U.S. segregation. In the United States, the U.S. segregation started in the 19th century, where blacks and whites were separated from each other in schools, buses, communities, and businesses. For some, well, for some people, well, first whites had the rights in America, but blacks didn't, because 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 in the 19th century, blacks didn't have that many rights. So they protested against it. So they protested against it. They protested against it so it can help to maybe manipulate people to help vote, so blacks can have the voting rights, so they can have the freedom and the regulation. Now, our next lesson is about Gordon Parks. Now, Gordon Parks Gordon Parks was an American photographer, musician, writer, and film director who became prominent in the U.S. documentary photojournalism in the 1940s and through 1970s, particularly in the issue of civil rights. Yeah, Gordon Parks' jobs were a self-taught artist. He was an American photographer, a writer, and composer. Yeah, Park, Gordon Parks launched a writing career during this period, beginning with his 1962 autobiographical novel, The Learning Tree. He would publish a number of books throughout his lifetime, including a memoir, several works of fiction, and volumes on photographic technique. Beginning in the 1960s, Gordon Parks branched out literature, writing The Learning Tree in 1963. He authored several books of poetry, which he illustrated with his own photographs, and he wrote three volumes of memoirs: A Choice of Weapons in 1966, Voices in the Mirror in 1990, and A Hungry Heart in 2005. Yeah, Gordon Park's main goal was not just to take photos, but to get them out there and to communicate what he saw. If both poor in both poor and rich neighborhoods, showing wealthy people and poor people. Now, next is the history about Sir Milo Butler. Now, Sir Milo Butler was a Bahamian politician who served as the Governor General in 1973 until 1979, which he died from the age of 72. After he died, Sir Lyndon Pinling became the Prime Minister, which he led majority in January 10th, 1989, creating the event Majority Day in the Bahamas. Now, the next lesson is about the water cycle. Now, the first now Now, what we know about the water cycle is it. Yeah. Now, first, it starts with evaporation from the oceans, the lakes and streams. Then, condensation happens. Then precipitation. also, and then surface runoff, and then groundwater. Now, let's talk about evaporation. Evaporation is the process of water turning into water vapor in a lake, stream, and river. Condensation is the state of matter when it changes from gas to a liquid. Precipitation is when liquids from the clouds fall back from the earth to create precipitation. For examples like rain, sleet, snow, and hail. Next is surface runoff. Surface runoff is the process of which the precipitation runs off on the land. And groundwater is the liquid from the clouds, putting it's putting back all the water all the water in back in lakes, streams, and rivers. Now, our next lesson is about positive and negative integers. Now, the positive integers are negative from negative 1 all the way to 10 on the number line. And the negative integers are negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, negative 9, and negative 10, and so on. Now, 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 when you want to solve integers, okay, for example, negative 2 plus 8, it equals negative 10. Because if, okay, if there was a negative number and a positive number, it would equal to a negative number. And another way you could say, if there was a positive number and another positive number, it will be negative. Now, next is about hygiene. Hygiene is the fit of keeping you and your surroundings clean and healthy. Like examples, using a toothbrush and toothpaste. Okay, using toothbrush and toothpaste to clean your teeth is very important to your dental health. Now, you always have to change your toothbrush every 6 months. Every 6 months. Always brush thoroughly, or use floss, or a toothpick to get all the gunk out, or food scrapings. Oh, using soap will get your body clean, and you can also use it to wash your hands, or you can also use the hand soap. Using a towel will help dry your body or wash it. By using shampoo, it'll make your hair neat and clean. Now the next lesson is about Cat Island. Now, Cat Island is one of the islands in the Bahamas. In the Bahamas. It was named after the animal, also known as the cat. When fishermen were fishing for fish, when there were so many mice, many people emigrate out of the island to get plenty of cats to eat the mice, so it can benefit them and the fishermen. Now, next is the caterpillar cycle. Well, the caterpillar life cycle. Now, now the caterpillar life cycle is first it starts off from a caterpillar, then it makes a chrysalis, also known as a sleeping bag to protect itself while it's performing its transformation. Then it turns into a butterfly, and then starts all over again. Now, next is all about Thanksgiving. Now, what some people know about Thanksgiving is that is a holiday on the 25th of November, which is in a few days, when we give thanks for what we have, and we have a feast. Next is the history of is the history on Hubert Minnis. Hubert Minnis was the former Prime Minister of the Bahamas from May 7, 2017 to September 16, 2021. He was also a Bahamian politician and doctor in the Free National Government. In in on the pie on in the pie chart on the pie chart above, it shows the time that Hubert Minnis became president, from the beginning all the way to the end. Next is drawing historical buildings. Now, drawing historical buildings can sometimes be easy, or it can be harder. You just need to take it down by the shape. Like for example, this is the Washington Monument in Washington D.C. You can tell by the shape and the form. There's the shapes that are there are a triangle and a rectangle. Now, if you can draw a Washington Monument, it can be easy. You just need to break it down. Now let me show you a drawing of the Washington Monument. As long as you take it down by shape, it can be easy to draw historical buildings. Now the next lesson is about vertebrates and invertebrates. Now vertebrates are organisms that have a backbone, and invertebrates are organisms that have no backbone. The types of vertebrates are a toucan, a fish, a snake, and a squirrel. The types of invertebrates are an anemone, an ant, a bee, and a jellyfish. Now next is a sport. The kind of sport we're talking about is baseball. Now, baseball is the kind of sport that involves hitting the baseball with a bat. Baseball has been around since 1846. Now next are the types of simple machines. The types of simple machines that were invented that were invented during the previous periods or the centuries past. First were a pulley, a wheel and axle, the lever, and a seesaw. Now, the next lesson is about saving the black rhinos, which I'm going to be reading you a report. In June 2014, I go to Africa to learn about wildlife for the summer. There I do a news report about black rhinos, which they are endangered species. I learn about rhinos' habitat, food, liquid, and their way of life. While I was filming the rhinos, I noticed some poachers' vehicles came out. They captured the rhinos in a net and then sells them to make a profit for themselves. So I tried to stop them from selling the rhinos. I decided to convince people to help the endangered rhinos. So we all stay strong. Organizers of a charity auction accept to raise more than $1 million to help protect the endangered black rhinos. After I convinced most of the people to help, to help, we found the poachers' meeting grounds, and we convinced them also not to illegally hunt for endangered species. So we planned a conference of which we should not illegally hunt for endangered species. So we planned a conference Why not? Well-managed conservation program that will help the species survive in the long run. During the conference, we all discussed the reasoning why we shouldn't illegal hunt for endangered species. We give back our votes to which we should not illegally hunt for endangered species. And, and then the choice was settled. So after the conference, all the poachers brought the rhinos back to their habitats, and they made the rule of not to illegally hunt for any life form or an endangered species. Now, now let me give y'all a word to advice. My advice to you is that don't give up on a challenge. You have the determination to overcome any problem that comes your way or any challenge. I now thank you for watching us today, and I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving.